Ghoul's Guide to Santa Barbara. And today we're here with a special Friday the 13th episode to share our 13 favorite spooky movies and shows for you to watch during spooky season.
Woohoo!
So we're just going to jump right in, and Summers is going to give us our first movie or show.
Okay. These are in no particular order, by the way. My first one is called Child of Glass, and it's from 1978. It is a Disney live-action movie.
Oh.
And
I didn't know that was a Disney one.
yeah.
I've never even heard of this.
Okay. Well, get ready.
Okay.
So, Disney live-action movies are some of my very favorite things, like the 60s and 70s
Oh, yeah.
ones
They had
and
some
80s.
great ones.
I love them. I did a thing a few years ago where I tried to watch all of them, and it just never ended. But so Child of Glass is my favorite spooky one, and it is based on the book The Ghost Belonged to Me by Richard Peck, a young adult writer of, it's just my favorite, I think, as a spooky kid, I guess, because I don't know why. So Alexander is a young boy, and he and his parents move into an old plantation house in Louisiana. So the movie is not problematicness free, I guess.
It is of the time.
It is, yeah.
for sure.
You must have a lens if you're going to watch it. So his parents want to restore this plantation house, and the area around the house is filled with all these weird characters that Alexander gets to know. He has like this little best friend named Pepper. And he learns about a haunting in his own home in the plantation. The ghost of a little girl named Inez, who was daughter of a pirate captain who built the house. And the pirate captain concealed a treasure within it. And there is a creepy rhyme of prophecy, which I love. And seances, and it's Pepper, the scrappy best friend. It's always good to have a scrappy best friend
sure.
in a movie. And again, very much a product of its time. So like, watch out. But if you were a spooky kid who's now a burned out, nostalgic adult, I think you might love it. And I found it on YouTube, so we'll link to it in the show notes. It's like you don't even have to pay for it.
Oh, cool. What did you
Awesome.
say? A rhyme of prophecy? What did you say?
Rhyme of prophecy.
What is that?
Like, in Harry Potter, like, I can't even think of one, but there's just like a weird, obscure little poem that like talks about like the child of glass will blah blah blah.
It's
and,
not.
like,
It's not
whatever.
step on a crack, break your mother's back.
That could be a rhyme of prophecy. This one's, yeah. Sleeping lies the murdered lass, vainly cries the child of glass. When the two shall be as one, the spirit's journey will be done.
Oh.
And so, like, you've whatever media it is, like they find the little rhyme of prophecy and then have to figure out how to make it happen or not happen.
Cool.
So, yep.
Fun.
Child of Glass, watch it.
Awesome. I'll have to check it out. So I'm going to go next. And my first movie is What Lies Beneath.
Oh,
Have you guys seen it?
no.
No.
So it was 2000 with Michelle Pfeiffer and Harrison Ford. Directed by Robert Zemeckis, which I didn't know until yesterday.
Oh, wow.
I know.
I like those people.
Yeah. It's so they're like empty nesters, and they live in this like beautiful lakefront house. And
Wait. Michelle Williams and
No,
Harrison
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, Michelle Pfeiffer. Okay. I mean, I like her too, but I don't know where my brain went there.
But so he works at like a university, and he's gone all day, and then she's home alone, and
Ideal.
right.
Ideal.
And she starts to believe that the house is haunted, and so she has to like unravel this mystery. Like she thinks that like her neighbor murdered his wife, and like so she's just like trying to figure out what's happening in the house, and it's one of my faves. It's just such a good movie, and I mean, I think he was already in his 60s at that point, but Harrison Ford could still get it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah, he could still get it now.
He is forever Han Solo and Indiana Jones. Yes, agreed.
Nice.
My turn?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm going to start my contributions off with the 1985 classic, Clue.
Yay!
Such a good one. I love it so much. You can't go wrong with Tim Curry.
No. And Madeline Kahn.
It's such a great cast. Yeah, such a fun movie. I I don't know if anyone before that had made a movie from a board game, which is a wild concept, but
Right.
I don't think anyone could have done as good of a job. I mean, I'm sorry, Jumanji, but
Oh, Jumanji. So, but did that
Jumanji's
come
so
out
good.
before the game?
But Jumanji wasn't a game. Though.
no,
It was
it was a movie about a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a movie based on a game. But yeah, I would never have, like, if I was a movie writer, I never would have been like, what if we take a board game?
Yeah, that's true.
But
It was like a new thing.
yeah, but it was done perfectly. So
Nice.
good.
Awesome.
And we
Take it
also,
away.
oh, do you want to mention Flames?
Flames.
Oh, yes.
How many?
The classic line of flames on the side of my face.
How often do we share that GIF with each other?
I know.
In the group chat.
It's like part of how we speak to each other as humans. Without Clue, I don't think we would have like a notable part of our vernacular.
right.
Oh, it's me now. Sorry. I was like,
Take it away,
come
Sums.
on. All right. My next one is not a movie, it's a show, and it's called Children of the Stones.
See, I haven't heard of this one either.
1977. You got to watch it.
Is your whole list just children made out of other things?
Mostly. Oh, I could have done it that way. I was just like,
Children of the corn.
yeah, right? Yeah, I should have. Darn. Jen always sees the patterns in what I'm doing, whereas I just like flounder through my life with no recognition of what's happening. She has to tell me. So I personally really like shows and series as better than movies because I have a really hard time getting into things. And so if I'm putting in the emotional investment to watch something and get really into it, I want it to last a long time, so I have return on investment. But yeah,
Makes sense.
But not scary stuff because you need like
I know. Yeah,
oh, like you need,
I know.
you need the
That's true.
resolution at the end
Just
of
in
that
general,
hour and a half movie.
Yeah. So like in general, it's even hard to get me to watch something that was canceled after one season because I'm like, no, I just do not need the heartache.
Yeah, I hear you for shows for sure.
Thanks. So, Children of the Stones is a BBC production from the late 70s. It got shown here in the States, although I didn't see it at the time, in the 80s on Nickelodeon.
Oh,
Like, remember before Nickelodeon had like its own original programming? There was this anthology show called The Third Eye that showed a few different series, like the Weird Kids version of Masterpiece Theater.
oh, fun.
And Children of the Stones was one of them. And it's the story of a boy who moves to a rural town in England called Milbury, which is built like inside of like a Stonehenge circle of stones, standing stones. And there's a sinister power inside the stone circle. And the town is he finds out the town is in a time rift that plays over and over and over.
What?
Yeah. And so the idea is that when the town achieves doing whatever predetermined series of events, like it somehow wants to happen, then the evil power inside the stones will get out into the world. And so, but the adults are not aware of what's happening and the kids are.
Of
So
course.
they're trying to figure stuff out and they're on their own, like in life, I guess, sometimes. But the town just doesn't seem to ever get it right. But the kids keep getting sucked into figuring out what's happening. And then my little bonus fact, this is also on YouTube and we'll link to it. And each episode is really short because the BBC used to do these like 15-minute episodes for kids in the afternoon. And so I think that's what this was. But the other 4 shows that the Third Eye on Nickelodeon showed, if you're interested, were called The Haunting of Cassie Palmer, Under the Mountain, Into the Labyrinth, and then The Witches and the Grinny Gog, which is the most messed up show in the whole world.
These sound
vaguely
familiar.
This is why
yeah.
I wanted to read them out loud, was because I thought it might like
Trigger something.
Yeah, trigger something, a memory, unlock a memory.
Wow.
So I think most of those are available on YouTube, but we'll link to whatever we can in the show notes.
Whoa.
So that's Children of the Stones, and it also has the most bonkers theme song in the world. So go listen.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna look that up.
All right. My next one is Stir of Echoes from 1999.
Oh, no way. I've never even heard of that.
Really?
Me either.
So let me tell you why you haven't heard of that.
Okay.
You haven't heard of this. Okay. First off, 1999, Kevin Bacon, Catherine Irby, did I say her name? E-R-B-E.
Sounds right.
Directed by David Cope.
Okay. Oh.
So you have not heard of this because it was a ghost story with a kid released about a month after The Sixth Sense.
Oh,
So the Sixth Sense just,
Okay.
you know,
There's
it's like Armageddon
overshadowed.
and Deep Impact. Like you just,
yeah.
they were like
yeah.
released at the same time
Okay.
and it just got overshadowed by the Sixth Sense.
Right.
But Stir of Echoes is like so great.
Yeah.
So Kevin Bacon's character gets hypnotized by his sister-in-law, played by Ileana Douglas.
Ooh,
who's
I like
always
her.
fun. I know. And then like creepy stuff starts happening. There's a scene where the kid, you know, I don't know how old he is, like 5, 6, whatever, like talks in the ghost's voice, which is just always
Ooh.
horrifying.
Yeah,
Like
no.
Horrific.
get chills just like saying that. And if you are like grossed out by things like people's teeth coming out and fingernails getting
that's
broken
a
off.
recurring nightmare.
Yeah, me too. Like just those happen in this movie, so just prepare yourself if you're gonna watch it. But yeah, I just feel like it's just like a really awesome, like modern classic ghost story. And I wrote, what's our rating system? I give this one 4.5 ghosts.
Oh, I like a rating system. For our next, we're going to do like a few, I think, top 13 lists
Yeah.
as bonus content over the years. So maybe we could have a rating system
Yeah.
for the next one.
Let's just assign values in ghosts with no parameters.
No, exactly.
So 4.5. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
Uh-huh.
So
Out
okay.
of 13,000.
Yes, exactly. Or
What's
maybe
the
out
scale?
out of 7.
I
I
don't
don't
even
know.
know.
We'll figure it out later.
I was like, is that out of 5? I don't know. 4.5 ghosts.
Okay. I like it.
Love it. Well, my next one is I'm going to go with The Addams Family, the original 1991 version with Angelica Houston and Raul Julia, because Raul Julia is just,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, he's the classic.
Yeah.
And I say that as an Oscar Isaac fan who was personally attacked by his character in the cartoon movies. It's just such a waste to have Oscar Isaac play Gomez in a cartoon. Man. But yeah, I could go on and on about Raul Julia as Gomez Addams. Their relationship is just #goals.
Yeah.
They love each other. They're spooky and they're kooky. Their kids are amazing.
I feel like Angelica Houston could still play Morticia.
Oh, absolutely.
sure.
She is
Yeah.
Morticia. But it was tough for me to choose because I love the original Addams Family, but Addams Family Values is also great.
It is.
The summer camp
Yeah.
scene where they burn down the colonial town
Yes.
is just, it's so good. So I
That
guess
is
maybe
good.
this is a 2-parter.
Yeah. I watched part of that recently. It was just on and I was like, well, don't mind if I do.
Exactly.
Right.
It's so good. Such a classic.
That was one of the original Addams Family was one of the few movies I ever saw in a theater with my parents.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it's a special thing. And that always involved my dad and I just like gleeful and my mom like just angry because she didn't have a great sense of humor and she like found a lot of humor. She was just like a Southern Baptist and like she didn't like it. But that was a fun one. And then my dad bought me a bunch of Charles Addams like comic books, comic collections with the Addams Family stuff in it. And now I like, so Charles Addams is like part of my brain. That's an awesome one, Jen. Okay. My next one, The Watcher in the Woods, 1980.
Okay.
So
This was almost on my list.
I think it only wasn't because you knew I would.
Yep.
American sisters Jan and Ellie and their parents moved to an English manor owned by Mrs. Aylwood, who is Betty Davis
Oh, okay.
in one of her
I don't know if I've
last
seen
roles.
Oh, she's so spooky in
She
it.
is, and so good. And so Mrs. Aylwood rents out the house and lives in the guest house. And creepy Betty Davis notices that Jan, the older sister, looks just like Betty Davis's long-lost daughter, Karen, who vanished inside an abandoned chapel in the woods, because that's a good place for a chapel.
And for a
30
kid to
years
go.
ago. I know. So Jan is instantly weirded out and she starts seeing strange things. And then she looks in the mirror and she sees a blindfolded girl behind her who looks just like her. It's horrible.
Ooh.
And her little sister is like a
so
horrible,
creepy.
creepy kid who starts falling into trances. And it's very like The Shining a little bit with the little sister.
I don't think I've seen
Yeah,
this.
isn't there also like writing, like
Backwards.
backwards writing? Yeah.
Yeah, like Narek instead
Yeah.
of Karen or something. It's like Red Rum. But I saw this first. So I was like, oh, The Shining is derivative. No, it's not. It was first. It was first. So it's a fun one. It's really campy. And there's also a cute British boy with like the haircut with the bangs and like he rides dirt bikes and whatever. And like, he's awesome. But it just gets weird and it's super fun. And but there's not like, okay, so I like a movie or a show with a lot of like lore, like that you can really dig into like the backstory and like and there's not like quite enough of that in this movie. It feels like there could be, but it's like, well, what were they doing that made them disappear in the...
Yeah, you never really find out exactly what the point of it was.
So I always find that a little bit unsatisfying, and I was like, oh, I wish there was a book. And there is!
Oh!
I just found out when we were doing the research for this. So it's by Florence Ingle Randall, and it's out of print, and it is very expensive used, but there's a PDF on the Internet Archive that you can borrow if you have an account on the Wayback Machine. So we'll link to that, and I'm reading it now, but it doesn't happen in England in the book. It happens in like New England, and like,
America.
I know. Take me back to the UK.
I know. It's just like, I mean, I think they made a good change for the movie, but usually I don't really support
I just think it's interesting that like back in the 80s Disney had like horror movies.
Yeah.
And I wish they still did that.
Me too. So also, if you're listening and you want us to do a book club of creepy books,
Ooh.
I don't know if we have the bandwidth right now, but just let us know if you want us to do it, because we will at some point in the future find a way to do it.
Don't threaten us with a good time.
Yeah, I know, exactly. So that's Watcher in the Woods, 1980.
Cool. I gotta check that one out too.
That was like one of my favorites
Awesome.
as a kid.
Okay, my next one is Candyman.
Ooh.
Yes.
The 1992 original. I saw the remake recently and it was all right.
The Jordan Peele one.
He did do that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. But like the original one is just so scary. So Virginia Madsen, Tony Todd is Candyman, directed by Bernard Rose, who, and all of this I just learned on IMDb the last couple of days, who before directing movies got his start directing music videos, including UB40's Red Red Wine video.
Oh, funny.
Terrible version of that song.
The movie is based on a short story by Clive Barker called The Forbidden. And so Virginia Madsen's character is a grad student researching urban legends, and she learns about Candyman. And like a dumb white girl always does, she says his name 5 times in the mirror, and then people start dying in super gruesome ways. So yeah, a lot of it takes place in this housing project in Chicago called Cabrini Green. And I just felt like, I don't know, a few years ago when I think when I watched the remake, I went on this deep dive about Cabrini Green and like read the whole Wikipedia and read all this history about it. But what's interesting is like, you know, scary movies and ghost stories that take place in remote old houses.
Yeah,
like they make sense.
Love them.
They make sense. But like there's something about hauntings in like big apartment complexes and like modern, you know, buildings, and this like perceived safety, at least like from ghosts and hauntings, that you had like there's neighbors right next to you and all around, there's people everywhere, and like how could a ghost possibly be here in this new construction? So that's just always interesting. And then I read on IMDb, and I felt seen that the director considers Candyman like a romantic figure, like in the way that Dracula is like a romantic figure. And like I felt that way when I watched it too, but I didn't know how to articulate it.
Sure.
And so I was like, oh yes, like yeah. So that was there. Like I know, it was really interesting. I also, just a little trivia, I read that Tony Todd negotiated $1,000 bonus for every bee sting that he got during filming, and he was stung like 23 times. And they actually, like, you know, when the bees come flying out of his mouth, like that was not special effects. They actually put bees in his mouth and to shoot that scene.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anyway.
I hope they got it in one take.
I know, right? Oh my god. Anyway, Candyman. Anything with mirrors just freaks me out.
It's funny because as you were saying, like, you know, that it makes sense in old houses but not in modern, and literally I was like, well, I mean, anywhere there's a mirror, there's like 50% chance that if you look at it at night, there's going to be something terrible behind you.
Yeah, don't watch the movie Mirrors, okay? It's really scary.
I I don't know
Anything
about
with
you
mirrors
guys. I'm
wigs
just
me
going to
out.
assume you guys are like me and like I just can't look in a reflective surface at night.
I try not to.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't either.
Like if I get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom.
Oh
like,
yeah, no. I don't
like
turn the lights
actively
on.
do not look at the mirror.
Yep.
I have a really hard time with windows when it's dark outside. Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
because have you ever seen Mama Cass sings a song in it? She's a witch, and there's a witch named Witchy Poo in it, and it's like, oh god, I got it. Let me just look up
Okay.
Witchy Poo. So there was this movie that was on Channel 5 when, and it is, hang on, HR Puffin Stuff.
Oh god, that traumatized a whole generation of
Yeah,
children.
so it was on Channel 5, and at the very beginning, they have like, you know, the title card for the production company or whatever, and then a black screen, and then this witch comes out and like harangues you. And I watched it when I was maybe 3 or 4, and I was terrified because every dark window I thought the witch was going to come and
That
yell at me.
show was like if someone dropped a ton of acid and then came up with a kids show in the
Yeah.
70s.
And then the one that I saw was like when they made a movie and of it, like it was,
I don't think I've ever watched
Even the parts
this.
that were supposed to be like happy are
they're just horrifying.
yes.
Like, so I still
There's
have
like
to
puppets
turn my
and
head.
people in costumes and
Yeah, I have to turn my head when I get close to a window at night because of witchy poo.
Oh my gosh.
oh, we're all traumatized.
Yep.
Speaking of, my next movie is the original Pet Cemetery from 1989.
So scary.
Oh, and the image, I went through and just like screenshot things instead of writing out my list. And like, it's the little boy with the scalpel.
Yep.
And that is the scene in the movie that like, it gives me like, it's making me physically uncomfortable right now. Just that scene when he slices that guy's Achilles
Oh yeah,
heel.
that's always
Oh,
terrible.
Spoiler.
in a movie.
But oh god, it was like physically uncomfortable to watch, and even just thinking about it, it makes my
Yeah,
Achilles.
I'm having some tingles.
Tendons
I know.
hurt.
Yeah.
Other than the part we shall not mention.
Yeah, we won't
Like,
talk about the sister.
the thing I just like, man, what really stuck with me is when he gets spoiler, when he gets hit by the truck and his little shoe goes bouncing down the road. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that was terrible.
The visuals in that movie are just amazing. And I said this before we started recording, but like for me, I probably won't have seen any of the ones that Liz is going to say because she loves like real horror and I can't stomach it. But this was the closest like to an actual horror movie that I saw like as a impressionable young teen, and for some reason I really liked it, and like I watched it a bunch, and it's really good.
Do you know what I don't? It's just the dumbest thing. But like at the end of that movie, when the credits come on, so like it's just you've had this like very dramatic ending with like the wife coming back, and like presumably like she kills the husband, but then like the screen goes black and the credits come up, and then like this like hard rock song comes on. And just like, what? Like it's just
Tone
so
shift.
Yeah, it's just so bizarre. That just like
it's too
that just
dramatic.
stuck with me.
Doesn't Stephen King have a cameo in it? Isn't he the preacher at the funeral?
Oh, I can't remember. Is that what
Stephen King
usually
is like
does?
my media dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I love him a lot, but yeah, I think he does.
I
I
haven't
think
seen
he's
it in
the
a long
preacher
time.
at the funeral for the little boy. Oh, it's me. Okay. Okay, so my next one is Rosemary's Baby from 1968
Classic.
with Mia Farrow and who cares who else? Because she's amazing.
Nobody else.
Yeah. So this is one of the 2 movies that my mother said I was never allowed to watch.
So fun.
Like
What was the other
never
one?
in my life, not even as an adult, was I allowed to watch this.
What was the other one?
The Graduate.
What? That's hilarious.
Like she was just so sexually repressed. I think The Graduate freaked her out. But so my dad stayed up late with me one night again to watch it on Channel 5 to watch Rosemary's Baby, and thankfully he did not watch The Graduate with me because I would have been so uncomfortable. But so my dad ate popcorn and was gleeful about rule breaking as we watched. Mia Farrow plays a young wife in New York City, and she lives in an apartment building with kindly neighbors who she slowly realizes are Satanists.
Zoinkies.
And she gets pregnant after a weird drugged night with her husband, or was it her husband?
Satan.
Dun, dun.
And that scene was uncomfortable to watch with my dad, but it's It's not super graphic. It's just like, ugh.
With 60s.
Yeah, like flashing lights and like little glimpses of things. So her neighbors make her drink this weird chalky, like Adele Davis type vitamin drink, and they get mad when she won't drink it and she doesn't really understand. So there's this scene in Rosemary's Baby where it's like aspirational to me. She's home alone. Mia is home alone in the evening, and she has on a cute little outfit and she puts a record on in her lone living room and she lounges on the sofa to listen to it. And I'm still baffled by it because she doesn't do anything else. She just sits there and listens to why doesn't she read or fidget with something or like do 5,000 ADHD things at the same time? Music is not enough. But why isn't she wearing pajamas when she's home? But whatever. It's just like this is what an adult does.
Just one thing.
Yeah,
I love
know.
that.
And then
What's that like?
I know, exactly. The other scene that I love is Mia has an unpleasant realization during a phone call. And instead of like making an excuse or like, oh, there's the door or whatever, she just goes, I have to hang up now, and hangs up. And like I was a high schooler when I watched this movie and my mind was so blown. I was just like, we can do that?
Right.
We can just like say we have to hang up now? And like, I've tested it and you can do that, but it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, again, there's some problematic stuff. It's directed by Roman Polanski, who would lose his wife and unborn baby to a horrific Manson family murder a year later. And then a few years after that, he would rape a minor and flee the country. So, yeah. But if you want to avoid that, but still get some Rosemary Baby goodness, it's based on a book by Ira Levin. So you can bypass the Polanski if you want to.
But still picture Mia Farrow in
I was
the
going
role.
to say, then you miss Mia in her beautiful 60s shift dresses.
Yeah, I know. And like her haircut and everything. Oh, so good. So good. That's it. That's my one.
My next one is, and this is my weirdest one. It's called Cemetery Man.
Oh.
I have heard of this
Have
one.
you?
Is it Nicolas Cage?
No.
Wait.
Is that Wicker Man? Are you thinking of? So Cemetery Man is a 1994 movie starring Rupert Everett.
Oh.
And it was directed by an Italian director named Michele Soavi, Soavi. It is like the weirdest comedy horror movie. And I just learned that it's based on a novel by a writer named Tiziano Scalavi. So now I got to track that down. Rupert Everett's character is Francesco Della Morte, and he is the guard of a cemetery. Where the dead keep rising. So it's totally like this gory zombie movie. But then it's also kind of this like quiet, dreamy love story. And it's just super weird. It's super random. I don't even know how I saw it years ago, but like, it's just one of those that sticks in my brain. And so it's
cool. I'll have to look
worth
for that
looking out for.
And it has nominative determinism in it because Della Morte, he works in a cemetery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's stuff about like Della Morte means like of death, and Della More like of love. So there's this like play on that.
Yeah.
I feel like if I worked, if I got a job like that and the people kept coming back to life, I'd probably just like move to a different cemetery. Be like, this is more than I signed up for.
He's very, it's
I'm
so
out.
like matter of fact. Like I haven't seen it in so long, but like, but it's almost just like, oh, well, gotta go deal with this one now. Like just very in that, Rupert Everett, like, I don't know, like not even exasperated, just like,
Yep.
It is what it is.
yeah.
That's awesome. Did you know Rupert Everett was friends with Princess Margaret?
No.
And she was older. I'll try to see if I can link it. He does an interview on the Graham Norton show about it. It's freaking hilarious.
Cool. I enjoy him.
Yeah.
She's like one of my favorite.
She used to
She's
just
like the best royal.
Yeah, she used to just like collect young gay men to hang out with, and he
like
benefited from that.
She's the wild card.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I guess I'm closing our list out. Or no, we have one more after this. Number 12 on our list. It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown from 1966.
Yay.
Nice.
This one I grew up with. It's a classic. I had forgotten how mean these kids are to each other.
Dude, right?
They are not kind.
No.
But my favorite recurring line is when they're trick-or-treating, and every house they go to, Charlie Brown goes, I got a rock.
Oh, at every house. Is it really?
Every house, every kid goes, I got cotton candy. I got blah, blah, blah. And then Charlie Brown goes, I got a rock. At every house.
I haven't seen it in
And,
so long.
And I say that all the time. Like my kids, I say it all the time whenever someone's like, I got some blah, blah, blah.
That's awesome.
I go, I got a rock.
Hashtag media damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do it when we go trick-or-treating too.
Oh my God. Did you see this thing going around the internet the other day? And it was like somebody that, you know how people like paint rocks and leave them places? Somebody painted this rock to look like a severed finger. And it was like so realistic. And then they just like left it on the ground.
Somebody do that, please.
That's classic. Speaking of, it's Friday the 13th and my daughter packed her lunch today. And I came out and she said, look, Mom, I got fingies. And she had taken string cheese and then wrapped them in ham and put them in to look like fingers.
She's amazing. Oh, so good. Okay, so what are we going to do about our 13th movie that we all have to agree on? Are we doing
the show that we talked about?
Oh, yeah, we are.
earlier?
Okay, I forget. I have this thing where my brain only remembers the first thing that it suggests. That's the only thing that sticks. So we were thinking about doing Blair Witch, but
Oh, that's right.
we're going to do a show because
Okay.
of the return on investment, and we all, yeah. Okay. Take it away, Liz.
Oh, I'm going to do it. Okay. So The Haunting of Hill House.
Woohoo!
The 2018. Was that? Who even made that? Was that?
What?
Was it like HBO? Who
Yeah,
made that?
Netflix, I think.
Netflix. Oh, that's right. It was a Netflix show.
Yeah, because hasn't there been like a bunch of subsequent ones that
There
all
was
tie
one,
into
right?
it?
Not, but.
There's
I don't
a
know.
new one that's going to be out now or is out now.
Oh, really?
House of Usher.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it is out now. But wasn't
There was another one. It was
Midnight
like,
Mass?
Midnight
Oh.
Mass is the same creator and kind of universe, I think, but
Oh, okay.
the other one was The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had the same actress, the
Yeah.
Victoria.
I haven't seen any of them, so
Pedretti.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to defer to
You
you
gotta.
guys on this one.
Yeah. So Carla Gugino, Henry Thomas, some little fun Easter eggs like the E.T. lunchbox.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When
I
they're up in the
didn't notice
treehouse.
Oh, cool.
Directed by Mike Flanagan,
Yay.
who also directed a movie called Oculus, which is another one with effing scary mirror stuff,
Oh,
which
no.
I hate. Oh, but anyway, back to Hill House, loosely based on the Shirley Jackson novel with the same name. But I went to read it, and it's more like House on Haunted Hill. It's like a different story with Liam Neeson and Owen Wilson and Catherine Zeta-Jones. So like it's just like a fully different story, but like all the same character names, which is so weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
Interesting.
But-
It's a really fun read, though. It's just not the same.
Yeah. And I
Like-
think I went in thinking it was going to be like the show, but it's not. So
Yeah.
yeah, you guys have talked about how good these are, and I've heard from many people like the other ones that we just mentioned how great they are. But my problem is the only time I really get to sit and like devote any time to watching anything now is at night, and I can't watch something like that
Yeah.
alone in the bedroom
No.
by myself.
No, it is scary and sad and terrible, and
It's so sad.
like the way that I sobbed during the bent neck lady reveal.
Oh, my God. I know.
It's so awful. And then there's like this split second where Carla Gugino is like chasing Henry Thomas out like down the hallway. It's the shortest little clip, but it is like burned in my brain. It's so scary. And
I
then-
feel like I should mention also that like part of our dynamic is that these guys understand that I do not care about spoilers at all. So if anyone at home is like, why are they telling
I
her all
know.
the things that happen and the things she just said she hasn't seen yet?
I know. And so then I still have questions about the finale. And I have like, are we doing spoilers? It's 5 years old, so I guess we are.
Yeah.
But like, how did Luke survive shooting up rat poison? Is that even possible?
There was no, I don't know, but there's a subreddit for, I think, for Hill House, and like all these questions and
Yeah.
more are asked and answered.
Interesting.
I think I remember you talking about that right
Yeah,
afterwards.
because
Yeah, I don't know.
that's the only thing where I'm like, I can't. My suspension of disbelief is not
As
not
opposed-
happening.
Yeah, that
opposed
seems
to,
hard to
like-
come back from.
So, Midnight Mass is another favorite Mike Flanagan thing, and but that whole show,
Yeah.
there's this. Why didn't they figure that out?
That's the one
Like,
on the island, right? With the
yeah.
like vampires.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like, so
And my brother told
suspension
me
of
that I would
disbelief.
like that one, that I should
It's, but it's
definitely
like
watch that one.
I got detached to the point that I just was laughing at the Islanders because they were so stupid.
They were so stupid.
They were so stupid, but that was kind of the joy of it. So I don't know. Maybe there's some things that just aren't plausible.
Yeah.
In these.
Oh, now I'm worried because if something like that would ruin something for me. If it's
fun.
like
It's fun.
It doesn't ruin it. You're just like, why would they do this?
There is
stupid.
There is an explanation for it that you could like trick yourself with, which is if vampires don't exist in like the lore of that universe or whatever, then it kind of makes sense. But otherwise it's like, why didn't that thing looks just like Nosferatu? Why you think it's an angel? You're so dumb. You are so dumb. We should maybe cut that because it's a big spoiler, but is it? It's
how
not really.
old is that show? I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe we should have a policy on Ghoul's Guide of like, if it's 3 years old, it's fair game.
Expect spoilers.
Yeah.
I read a thing on IMDb that the 5 kids represent the 5 stages of grief.
Oh.
So Stephen, the one who like doesn't believe any of it, he represents denial.
Okay.
Shirley, that's the one.
that's very on the nose.
That's the one that ran the funeral home, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So she represents anger.
Okay.
Theo represents bargaining.
Okay.
Luke, depression, and Nell, acceptance.
Okay.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting.
Theo's my fave.
Yeah, she was cool.
Man, the stages of grief.
Yeah.
Having been through grief, I read this thing that like those stages exist, but you go through them simultaneously. Like the whole time, it's all 5. Like it's not. There's no order.
Right, and then you're not just like done.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's number 5.
Yeah.
I'm cured.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no.
Yeah, and sometimes you can go back and forth. And,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So get watching, guys. You gotta our ghouls.
If we missed your favorite, let us know.
Yeah.
Send us a message on our any of our social medias at Ghouls Guide SB.
Ghouls Guide to SB.
Ghouls Guide to SB. I should never be in charge of giving this specific information.
But yeah, tell us if you've seen any of our 13 movies and shows and what you think of them. And
yeah,
we hope you enjoyed this little extra episode.
Happy Friday the 13th.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Ghoul's Guide to Santa Barbara. Like and subscribe on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Ghoul's Guide to SB.
Our website is ghoulsguidetosb.com. Got a spooky story or know of a haunted or paranormal location in Santa Barbara? Send it to us at ghoulsguidetosb@gmail.com.